OK. Bonsoir tout le monde. Et bienvenue à la séance du conseil municipal de Mont-Royal, Tuesday, September 19th, 2023, 7 p.m. And with that, on commence l'ouverture avec les annonces des élus. Alors, je passe la parole à M. Antoine Théard. Merci.
Oui, bonsoir tout le monde. J'ai deux annonces ce soir d'ordre plutôt préventif et de sécurité. Le premier, c'est un exercice de la grande secousse au Québec. Le 19 octobre prochain aura lieu le plus important exercice de préparation au séisme au Québec. La ville de Mont-Royal enjoint tous ses employés à participer à ce court exercice qui consiste à simuler des gestes à faire lorsqu'un séisme survient. Ainsi, à 10h19 exactement, le 19 octobre prochain, ils seront invités à se baisser, s'abriter et s'agripper. Ces trois simples gestes pourraient sauver la vie et prévenir des blessures à de nombreuses personnes en cas de séisme. Nous invitons d'ailleurs toute la population à joindre les milliers de Québécois qui feront l'exercice en s'inscrivant sur la page Internet www.grandesecousse.org Québec. Toute information pertinente s'y trouve. Le Québec, pour qu'on le sache, est situé dans une zone reconnue pour son activité sismique importante. Quelques 200 secousses sont enregistrées annuellement dans cette région. La menace d'un grand tremblement de terre au Québec est bien réelle. Tous les citoyens doivent se préparer pour empêcher qu'un tel sinistre donne lieu à une catastrophe de grande envergure. Donc, trois gestes simples, se baisser, s'abriter et s'agripper. La deuxième annonce, c'est le jour du test d'avertisseur de fumée. Le jour du test d'avertisseur de fumée aura lieu le jeudi 28 septembre et l'objectif de cette activité de prévention est de créer un effet d'entraînement pour inviter les citoyens à passer à l'action en vérifiant leur avertisseur de fumée le 28 septembre. Comment y participer? Le mercredi 20 septembre de 13h à 14h, une séance d'information virtuelle vous sera offerte par le ministère de la Sécurité publique et ses partenaires. Soyez au rendez-vous pour en apprendre davantage sur l'événement du 28 septembre et partager vos initiatives. Merci et bon conseil.
Merci beaucoup. Je passe la parole à Mme Kamali.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Ce soir, j'ai deux petites annonces pour vous. Première, c'est au sujet de bactérocyclage et matériaux résidus. How to place your bins for pickup. Put on your bins after 7 p.m. on the evening before collection and before 7 a.m. on collection day. Place your full or partially filled bin in your driveway between from 15 centimeter to 30 centimeter behind the property line and leave at least 30 centimeter between the bins. Make sure no vehicle or other object can interface with the mechanical lifting of the bins. And make sure the lids are lightly closed and free of debris. And the last attention is all bins must be put away by 23 on collection day. Bins that are improperly positioned or too heavy or hard to handle with will not be picked up. So also bin and all other type of containers are prohibited on public roads. And the second one is about 22e édition of Flamme dans la course. Le dimanche 1er octobre 2023 à 9h, entre 9h et 14h, dans le parc d'Anilouk. Venez-vous nous joindre à nous pour la 22e édition de Flamme dans la course au nom de Fonds de Sarah pour la Fondation de cancer des Cèdres. Un événement spécial où les héros de l'étage de Sarah, les entreprises, les étudiants, les amis et les membres de la famille font de la marche, la course pour la cause de cette fondation. Donc, je vous souhaite un bon conseil.
Merci. Et Daniel Pilon.
Bonsoir tout le monde. All citizens are invited to participate at the 8th annual Cedars Run for Ovarian Cancer on October 15, 2023, from 8:30 to 12 at Daniluk Park. Come Run for Ovarian Cancer, benefiting Doovie Gene Project under the leadership of Dr. Lucy Gilbert. Le Gala Alpha se tiendra le 19 octobre. Cet événement conjoint avec la Chambre de commerce. La Ville souhaite bonne chance à tous les finalistes. Terry Day Fox for cancer research took place last Sunday, September 17. The event was a success. Congratulations to the whole team. Merci et bonne soirée.
Merci beaucoup. Maya?
Thank you.
Tomas.
Bonsoir. So I'd like to inform you that in collaboration with the officers of Station 26, we will be celebrating National Seniors Day by hosting a luncheon and a musical entertainment by the Symphonie Vocale of the Brotherhood of Police Officers of Montreal on Wednesday, October 25th at 11:30 at Town Hall. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Julie Held?
Bonsoir, j'ai une petite annonce pour le Multicultural Fair. So discover the colors and rhythms of Argentina through song, dance, and traditional dishes at the 2023 Multicultural Fair. Free admission. The event will take place, rain or shine, at Daniluk Park. Joignez-vous à nous samedi le 23 septembre de 3h à 8h du soir pour la foire multiculturelle. Et des feux d'artifice auront lieu vers 7h30 le soir.
Merci beaucoup. Et Caroline Descaloué.
Bonsoir. Petite information concernant les taxes d'eau. Les taxes d'eau ont été transmises aux citoyens. Ils sont datés du 11 septembre 2023. Donc, vous avez jusqu'au 11 octobre pour faire votre paiement. Également, j'aimerais vous rappeler que le marché public a lieu jusqu'au 12 octobre. Nous avons prolongé la période cette année encore. Donc, c'est les jeudis de 15 à 19 heures. Je vous encourage à venir consommer les produits des artisans locaux. C'est important pour eux. C'est une bonne source de revenus. On est content d'avoir la vitalité dans un centre-ville. Donc, encourageons l'événement. Il y a des gagnants au concours du Jour de la Terre qui avaient gagné des certificats cadeaux de 50 $. Vous avez, n'oubliez pas de venir les dépenser là, au marché public si ce n'est pas déjà fait. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Alors, Sébastien Dreyfus.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Alors, don't forget that fall is coming, so leaf collection will start soon. And in the meantime, do not put any leaves on the sidewalk or the streets, and don't forget that you can't use any blowers before October 1st. Also, remember that Thanksgiving is also coming up, so on Monday, October 9th, the municipal offices will be closed, and that includes the library. And one more information, c'est au niveau de j'en parle à chaque fois, là, c'est de la piste nord de l'aéroport de Montréal qui est en rénovation. En fait, c'est pas la piste, c'est la piste de circulation qui fait qu'il va y avoir plus de trafic sur la piste sud à certains moments, dépendant de la direction des vents, ce qui pourrait augmenter pendant un certain temps jusqu'au 17 novembre, le trafic au-dessus de Mont-Royal. Donc, soyez au courant qu'il pourra y avoir plus d'avions à ce moment-là. Merci et bonne soirée.
Merci beaucoup. Et finalement, Sophie Séguin.
Bonsoir. Alors, le 29 octobre, on va avoir un événement surprise au Parc Connaught pour l'Halloween. Alors, on vous invite à rester à l'affût pour plus de détails pour cette fête surprise-là. Et à la bibliothèque, il y a toujours une programmation très riche. Pour les enfants, ce qui s'en vient, c'est une semaine de la culture scientifique. Il va y avoir une activité pour fabriquer une boussole. Et pour les journées de la culture, la bibliothèque a une riche programmation pour les enfants et pour les adultes. Donc, on vous invite à consulter la programmation de la bibliothèque pour vous inscrire et avoir les horaires. Il y aura aussi des activités pour l'Halloween, évidemment. Et l'heure du conte pour les enfants entre 0 et 5 ans se poursuit toujours les matinées, les jours de semaine. Merci, bon conseil.
Merci beaucoup. Alors, avant qu'on commence la séance, comme toujours, j'ai quelques petits mots à passer, un message à passer aux résidents de Ville-Mont-Royal. Alors, bonsoir à tous et merci d'avoir pris le temps de vous joindre à nous. Thank you for joining us and taking an interest in municipal affairs of your community. My opening remarks will be fairly short, but this is no indication of the amount of work that I, your council members, and the administration have been doing to continue to keep TMR the great place to live as we all know it. The REM. Nous avons appris que la question du bruit continue à être un enjeu pour le REM et que des études se poursuivent. Des spécialistes font actuellement des tests sonores, évidemment sur le tronçon déjà en service, mais également sur l'antenne de montagne et plus particulièrement dans Ville-Mont-Royal. Ces tests permettront de valider les hypothèses théoriques antérieures et des actions seront prises en fonction des résultats. We are cautiously encouraged to hear that the REM is continuing their sound studies in order to validate their theoretical sound projections. We will, however, be monitoring the impact of any studies closely, as this has a direct impact on the residents closest to the line in our community. I'd like to mention that although other municipalities' concerns have been evidenced in the media recently, it should be noted that through our previous resolution and the support we have received from several municipalities, we're on high alert and persist in our advocacy to ensure we attain the sound and visual mitigating measures necessary to protect the interests of our residents. Le centre sportif. As promised earlier on, I'm happy to give a small update on the status of the proposed sports center. The contract for professional services was awarded last month, and meetings have already been held with the consortium of architects and engineers. The professionals are already ready to start the work, and we are confident in the execution as per the town specifications. La première rencontre avec les professionnels pour le centre sportif a déjà eu lieu et nous pouvons maintenant vraiment dire « c'est parti, game on ». Le viaduc Rockland. Le viaduc Rockland se rapproche de sa fin de vie et conjointement avec la Ville de Montréal et l'arrondissement d'Outremont, nous travaillons sur le réaménagement du viaduc et de ses abords. Il s'agit d'un projet de grande envergure dont l'exécution est prévue seulement en 2027 à 2030. Toutefois, les études de différents scénarios, les études d'impact et les discussions et ententes doivent débuter maintenant. Ainsi, le 11 octobre prochain, de 19h à 21h, une séance d'information sera tenue au complexe des sciences de l'Université de Montréal. Cette séance d'information permettra de présenter les résultats de l'étude de faisabilité et les options retenues qui ont été endossées par le comité de gouvernance. On October 11th, from 7 to 9 p.m., an information session will be held at the campus 1000 of University of Montreal on the various options concerning the reconstruction of Rockland Overpass plan for 2027 to 2030. Information will be posted on our website. Les informations seront sur notre site web. Divers projets. Despite fall being on our doorstep, our outdoor construction projects are ongoing. Work is well underway at the Dow Park, as well as for the park on Bates. Road reconstruction, paving, and sewer and water main work is continuing in various sectors of the town. Nos divers travaux de construction, parcs, rues, égouts et aqueducs continuent nonobstant l'arrivée de l'automne. La température cet été n'a pas été aidante pour plusieurs projets. Nous continuons donc maintenant. Opposition vigoureuse à certaines dispositions de la loi 96. Votre conseil adoptera aujourd'hui une résolution autorisant un mandat à la firme d'avocats Gattuso Bouchard Mazzoni afin de s'assurer que cette loi respecte le droit des municipalités et vos droits et également respecte la Constitution. Ceci dit, votre ville ne conteste rien sur la langue française ni sur notre statut bilingue. En terminant, je tiens à féliciter les organisateurs de la course Terry Fox. Je ne pouvais être présent cette année, mais on me rapporte que l'événement était un grand succès. Thank you to the organizers for the Terry Fox Run. Once again, a very, very successful event. Bonne soirée à tous. Merci d'être avec nous. I look forward to seeing you all at our multicultural fair next Saturday, where we will celebrate the culture of Argentina. We will be closing out the day with fireworks. Les feux d'artifice samedi prochain à la clôture de la foire multiculturelle se tiendront vers 19h30. Thank you for joining us and have a good evening. And with that, on passe à l'adoption de l'ordre du jour.
Oui, il est proposé au Conseil d'adopter l'ordre du jour de la séance ordinaire du Conseil du 19 septembre 2023.
Merci.
Je propose.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Demande de vote, s'il vous plaît. À l'unanimité. Merci beaucoup. Now, we are moving into public question period. Comme on le sait, c'est 30 minutes. S'il vous plaît, respectez les règles de la période de questions. Vous avez 90 secondes à poser une question. Ce n'est pas une place de venir et donner une lecture sur qu'est-ce que vous n'êtes pas heureux ou vous êtes heureux avec. C'est une période de questions. So please respect the time limits and everybody who will have a chance to ask their question in line. And you can have a follow-up question. Thank you very much.
Hi, London, 626 Powell. Last year, Powell was supposed to have the street repaved, and it was announced in the middle of the year that it would be done this year. Unfortunately, nothing has happened this year. So my question is, when will Powell be repaved?
Good question. Mrs. Couch, do you know the scheduling for the paving?
Unfortunately, Mr. Linden, I don't know what the schedule is for Powell. I'll look into it and I'll get back to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I like that. Efficient.
Brian Morton, 145 Graham. Coming back on a...
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Because it kind of...
Morton,
yes?
145 Graham.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, coming back on a previous answer from Your Honor. I've been complaining about motorized and other vehicles on the sidewalk. Your response was people are doing it everywhere. That's not an acceptable answer. If a trottinette, if a motorcycle, 250cc, strikes a pedestrian at 40 kilometers an hour on the sidewalk, the results are not going to be pretty. To top it off, the other day, I was walking down the sidewalk close to my house and got in a confrontation with two cyclists that wanted me to get off the sidewalk. That's a oxymoron, to be told to get off a sidewalk where you're walking. So I don't know what else to say. My question to you is, what can be done about it? I mean, we don't have the lieutenant here from the police department. The question would half go to you and half go to him.
Half go to who? Half go to me and half go to who?
The lieutenant of the police department.
Right.
We used to participate in council meetings. Mm-hmm. He's not here, so I have to address it to you.
Right.
So I'm saying simply, what can and will we do about it? Because 40 kilometers an hour hitting a kid or an adult is going to be really ugly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mr. Morton, when I said to you, you know, other people are doing it, I also said, and I do remember my response to you, that it's tragic that people behave that way, whether it's cyclists, whether it's motorized scooters or things like that that go on sidewalks. We did have a meeting, as a matter of fact, with the head of the SPVM, Fatty Dagger, and I did mention that to him. And I said, look, it's a real problem, and they have a problem like that in many other parts of the island of Montreal and elsewhere in the province. And it's something that requires a police intervention, not public security intervention, because we can't give tickets as public security. However, we're acutely aware of it. It's a huge irritant when people don't respect pedestrians and don't respect street signs and street lights. I mean, it's all of that together, because I've had a lot of complaints from residents about cyclists. You know, many cyclists respect them. This is not a knock against cyclists, but there are many cyclists who just don't respect the street signs and don't respect, the sidewalks and don't respect the pedestrians. All we can do is continue to advise the SPVM, which we will continue to do, to be on alert for this, and certainly ensure that we could try to get some better measures in place to be able to protect our pedestrian residents of TMR. Bear in mind, they have limited resources, and we need to deal with traffic circulation. We need to deal with people speeding on our streets as well, and we're trying to get all of that done at the same time.
Mm-hmm. As I said,
and Mrs. Couch will add something as well.
Yeah, just to let you know that you had brought this up last year already. I went through my notes. I advised the police. I sent them an email at that time. After the last council meeting, 2 days later, I sent them an email as well, asking for the same police intervention and mentioning the corner, and as a matter of fact, giving your information as well, your address and your name, so that they would be able to contact you and possibly then see what times or whenever it occurs. So the message was passed to the police. I don't know if they contacted you or not.
they did.
And they were going to do some interventions, but the message was clearly passed to the police as much last year as this year.
I had actually emailed the lieutenant myself. As I said, it's a headbanger simply because somebody's going to get badly hurt, and it distresses me.
Message has been passed, and we are following up on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bonsoir, Nicolas Raymond, 606 Powell. Au conseil de ville du mois de juillet, vous aviez voté là, pour une poursuite de l'étude sur la capacité du réseau d'égouts de la ville, et vous avez révélé au dernier conseil que vous aviez reçu le matin même du dernier conseil ce fameux rapport. Je ne le vois pas à l'ordre du jour, donc quand est-ce qu'il va être rendu public, où et comment?
On vient de discuter, bref, ce soir pour nous autres, on va en discuter de le rapport des experts sur nos égouts, je crois le 5 octobre.
5 octobre.
Le 5 octobre. On n'a pas encore reçu le rapport au conseil et on attend pour toute la validation de nos ingénieurs et notre équipe, et ils vont nous présenter un rapport le 5 octobre.
Donc, on peut s'attendre au prochain conseil à avoir...
On espère, oui.
OK. Au dernier conseil, Mme Couch nous disait qu'il y avait un entretien régulier des égouts. Donc, je me suis adressé à la ville pour savoir quand avait eu lieu le dernier entretien sur la rue Powell. Je travaille à la maison et de mon bureau, je vois la rue et je n'ai jamais vu en 6 ans un entretien des égouts. Et on m'a répondu, après analyse, nous constatons que le document ou l'information demandée est formé en substance d'une analyse dont la divulgation requerrait vraisemblablement d'avoir un effet sur une procédure judiciaire. Conséquemment, nous ne pouvons donner suite à votre demande. Est-ce que la Ville a des choses à cacher?
Je dirais jamais. La Ville n'a pas des choses à cacher. Et le travaux sur les égouts sur la rue Powell, je pourrais demander à Mme Couch.
Mais je ne comprends pas tout à fait. Je n'ai pas vu votre demande.
J'ai fait une demande d'accès à l'information pour juste savoir quand avait eu lieu le dernier entretien. On me répond qu'en raison de possibles poursuites judiciaires, j'ai aucune poursuite judiciaire contre la Ville, on ne peut pas me répondre. Comme payeur de taxes, je crois que j'ai le droit de savoir quand remonte le dernier entretien du réseau d'égouts qui dessert ma résidence.
Okay, je vais regarder, mais je n'ai pas de réponse pour vous maintenant. Je ne sais pas comment et pourquoi la réponse a été donnée au niveau de l'accès à l'information.
Okay, je vais vous envoyer une copie de la réponse.
D'accord, merci.
Merci beaucoup.
Kathy Ely, 157 Cornwall. 10 years ago in May, funds were allotted for professional services for the preparation of a functional and technical plan for the construction of a recreation complex. Last month, funds were allotted for the professional services for a functional and technical plan for the construction of a recreation complex, brand new one, not the plans we had before. My question is, given the recent flooding in this building, and I think the subsequent damage to the washrooms, I'm not sure about that, and the history of flooding we've had with some of our buildings, The original Sports and Recreation Center did not have and would not have a basement. That's the main difference in your plan for this new Sports and Community Center and the old one. We didn't have a basement planned in that building, but you seem to think that it will work. Why?
Well, because first of all, Mrs. Ely, in response to the flooding in buildings, well, a lot of the buildings are quite old. New construction methods permit us to be able to build a structure below grade much more efficiently nowadays. And there are other major differences here. We're doing this also without interruption of services for sports and recreation during the construction period. It's important that we conserve the buildings. Also, the plan contemplates a whole vision of Daniluk Park, of what we can do with it with this particular plan. So we've consolidated the building on 3 floors. It's going to be architecturally well integrated onto the street, onto Roosevelt Avenue. And flooding is not going to be a concern when we work with our engineers to ensure that we don't have that type of problem in the building itself.
I see. And then you'll tear down the wreck afterwards. Thank you.
Yeah, it was in my presentation, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Alan Awad from 595 Lazard.
I'm sorry, Alan who?
Awad.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm here tonight because after the water floods that happened on especially Lazard Street, I'm sure it was everywhere else, I got a surprise call from my insurance carrier last week because my contract is coming due in October, announcing to me that I will no longer be covered for water damage, sewer backup, or such things. And when I asked why, I was told, well, you have everything in your home to protect yourself, but it's a city problem. And as long as the city doesn't correct the problem, you will not be covered. And I'm sure many people will get the same problem, not just on my street or wherever we had flooding. Now, I was told that if an expert can provide some kind of solution to say that there will not be another event like that or a similar event, then they would consider re-insuring us. My question is, on July 4th, when you mandated a company to come and clean Lazard Street sewers, and then consequently install a membrane, which happened a couple of weeks ago, is that enough to avoid future water damages? And if so, is there a letter to be made available to our insurance carrier to that effect?
Sure. Okay. So let me start with a couple of things here. There are several insurers out there and insurance companies. Some will cover flooding, some will not cover flooding, even if you've been with them for years. Some of them will take your premiums and tell you, well, you've made too many claims. If we pay you on this one, your premium's going to go up sky high. In terms of the insurer telling you the problem is with Town of Mont-Royal, I would have asked the insurer, can you send me the report that you have that validates that? Because I'm a little bit surprised.
I'm not surprised because everybody on our street got flooded.
No, I do understand that. But what I'm saying is that we don't know who is insured with whom, okay? And I empathize. I mean, you want to be able to have coverage. Sometimes you have to shop around for your insurance, but as you know, and it's been reported in the media, many insurers are refusing flooding in Montreal and in various districts in Montreal, flood insurance for many reasons, because of flooding, because the nature of the ground, the hydraulic pressure in the ground, and we're doing everything we can to be able to find out what are the major problems and how we can bring corrections to these major problems in our streets. In terms of, you're on Lazard.
Between St. Clair and Lucerne.
Pardon me?
Between St. Clair and Lucerne.
Maybe you can respond regarding the...
So the work that would have been
was done there.
That would have been done on your street had been planned before the most recent flooding, because it's obviously work that is planned years in advance.
Sorry, I'll let you finish.
So it's not really related to what had just been done. And the work is because there was the sewer needed repairs. So we didn't increase the size of the sewer. It's a liner that is put inside it. So it doesn't change the size of the sewer. It makes that the sewer runs smoother, if you will, because it increases its capacity to a certain degree because it's now smoother. The stuff in there can slide better.
Okay.
So
Understood. No, I understand all that.
that's right. So that's what was done. But as to is it going to prevent any future problems on the street, I can't say that. I can't promise that. And as you can see, we're still working on it to see what are the issues. And we received the report from our consultant a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
Our technical people have been discussing with the consultant. They've been going through it, and a presentation is going to be made to council. In the meantime, a letter was sent to all residents with suggestions for people to help their own situation, checking your backwater valves to make, also making sure that your guttering is not connected to the to your French drains. So all of these steps, but until then, it's going to be something that needs to be discussed, and then we're going to have to see what steps we need to take. It's not a quick fix.
Okay.
We have been exposed to a considerable amount of rainwater, excessive rainwater, torrential rainwater. And you're well aware of that because I'm sure that you've read the media like anybody else. And we're not the only place in the world that's been hit by this. There's been other places in the world. So, we're trying to fix something. So our systems were not built to be able to handle perhaps that type of rainwater flooding, et cetera. And sometimes people self-flood themselves, as we've explained in our letter and all that stuff. So I can't answer for your insurance, but we are definitely on this because it's a major concern for many of our residents.
So, I pay my fair share of taxes. Just to follow up, on July 4th, when that first downpour came, the crew that was hired to clean the sewer was there. And everybody came out almost with pitchforks saying, what's going on? They thought something happened because everybody was getting flooded. We were told by these people that, the sewer size for a street this size should be at least 28 inches in diameters. Yours is 15. And then he said, well, when we put that membrane in a few weeks, it'll be 14. And I specifically asked the fellow, I said, don't you have an obligation to inform the town of this thing? And he said, no. I mean, was all this money spent from our tax dollars for nothing? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
You have to be careful. Let me address it this way, and I want to pass on to the other people behind you, okay? You have to be careful about listening to every one of the experts on the street doing work, okay? Because sometimes, they have their own axe to grind for whatever reason they have. We have an engineering team, we have specifications, we go to tender, we make sure those specifications, as Mrs. Couch just explained, will help the flow of sewage through the network that we have. In the meantime, if we just run in there and decide to rip up the street and put in a 22-inch, 28-inch pipe in that street, and then we hit the neck of a funnel somewhere else and it just backs up again, we haven't solved the problem. So we have to make sure that we take the whole picture under consideration and do it in the most intelligent way possible. Okay. So that's why we have this engineering report, and that's where we're trying to get to the bottom of this.
So,
and recognize full well, we're under extraordinary circumstances for rainwater coming in.
I understand, but that doesn't remove the fact that I will no longer be insured as of the end of the month.
I can only recommend to you, I'm sorry about that. We have no control over that, but I would go out and get quotes from other brokers.
When other brokers tell me, have you had flood insurance? Have you had flooding? They'll,
No, I understand, but I can't control. Listen.
Yeah.
You're not alone in that.
No,
I got flooded. Let me tell you something.
For many people, I'm sure.
As a resident of TMR, I got flooded. I never been flooded before. I've been flooded, and not from sewage backup, from rainwater.
Yeah.
4 times. Okay, my insurance. I don't make claims anymore. It's frustrating, and I'm getting flooded. So I understand. I don't want to minimize it for you. I really, really don't, because it's really disruptive. But we're working on it. And we are working. But I want to move on to other questioners.
So just there's no way that the town can provide a letter saying, look, we've taken these measures to ensure that, to minimize risks of flooding. Is that something that could be possible for us?
I don't think
on
so.
On our street where you did the work?
No, You know, we can say the work that was done on the street, but we can't
all we
say
can
that
say.
it's going to solve the problem or not solve the problem or anything like that. No, it's not something that we can do. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hi, Rami Saleh, 1405
I'm sorry, what is your name?
Rami Saleh.
Graham Saleh?
Rami. R-A-M-Y.
Oh, Rami Saleh. Okay, thank you.
What was the address? I'm sorry.
1405 Lucerne. So I came here around 6 months ago. I was just reporting issues on Lucerne in regards to safety, and the report was that there's intermittent police coming, the neighborhood watch, and the speed radar. Today, I just want to report to you what happened over the last 6 weeks, and the question is, how can we mitigate or reduce those issues? So in 6 weeks, we have Ferrari retesting their cars on the street. You have a beggar on Jean Talon and Lucerne that blocks as he's begging and the light is going, so we cannot really go around the guy. You had 3 attempted robberies. My car got stolen, among another person whose car got stolen. As per the police, there was a potential kidnapping of a kid or abnormal behavior with a kid. We had the police at our house and our neighbors for 3 days. You had 4 accidents. One of them was major, and I think you were there, the one next to the mall. So in 6 weeks, the rate of issues happening on Lucerne is skyrocketing. If we look at our neighboring towns, right, this is a great place that we live in, or we assume we live in. If we look at Fleet in Côte Saint-Luc, there's better measures, cameras, more stop signs. Chemin Croix, there is, I go there every day. Chemin Croix in Ville-Saint-Laurent, there's better measures. Van Horn in Outremont, there's better measures. The question is, what can we do to reduce those incidents because the rate is increasing?
So, okay, so in response to your question, I don't know about the cameras because right now the City of Montreal has cameras for speed cameras, but I don't know of any municipality having cameras to control security
cameras.
Pardon me?
Security cameras.
Maybe they have security cameras.
The police investigated our road. For example, when my car got stolen or the other robbery, it turns out between 2 and 4 p.m. every night, there's people that walk, measure every house and test the cars, right? But they tell us we don't have high quality pictures from our houses.
Okay. So, you know, that becomes, these are measures and investment. Let's deal with each one of the issues.
Sure.
You spoke about Ferrari. That's speeding or testing on the road. We've advised these car dealers in the past. We're going to continue to advise them again, and that's what we're going to do. We have to send them a letter. We can't sit out there and put, first of all, public security can't stop them. Police have to stop them. So that's number one. Number two, regarding the beggar, again, it's a police issue, and that, again, is trouble on the street, and I don't know what to tell you about that because, you know, people can present themselves anywhere. How do you control it? Regarding a kidnapping of a child, I don't know how that takes place or the reason for it. Again, that requires police supervision, oversight. I mean, we can end up in a police state or a camera state and have cameras everywhere like in the UK on every street corner. That becomes a question of invasion of privacy. And I know one of your co-residents here is not a big fan of having having cameras look at him day in, day out.
Yeah.
So, and you know, regarding the accidents and the issues along the arteries, and you can mention Fleet and you can mention St. Croix. St. Croix, I know, narrows down to 1 lane each way, but it's in an industrial area in front of the grocery store and office buildings, and then when you get in front of Vanier, it opens up again to 2 lanes. So it's a non-residential area where they've done that to try and mitigate some of the traffic, but it's a highly trafficked area. We are going to look at the consideration for traffic concerns and all that stuff, and the problems that have occurred on Lucerne, which is an artery that is really an intermunicipal artery. It's not just residents of TMR. It's as you're well aware, it's from everywhere. We want to make sure that we make the conditions of that street a lot safer for our residents. We recognize there are issues in crossing streets with young children or in letting children cross the streets, in high-speed traffic and all that stuff. And we are going to do a study on that to what are the best measures that we can do to mitigate that type of problem in the future.
Just as a follow-up, I started taking my daughter to school for the first time ever to Saint Clement. It is really not pleasant to walk on Lucerne to drop off your kid. But my question is, why isn't there a stop sign on every intersection on Lucerne, and why are the lights all green in one shot? Literally, you can fly from Jean Talon down to IGA in one shot, and this is what everybody is doing. So it's not extremely complicated as a measure to make sure that the stop signs are not all the lights, are not all green at the same time, or just put more stop signs. On Fleet, when you go, there's a stop sign every block. It's just out of safety. The rate of accidents is really increasing, right? And they're happening right in front of us. And the police, they park in front of our house to do tickets. They say, well, we can't really do much. It's your city that should take care of it.
The reality of life is that we'd like to take all the measures necessary to mitigate the speed and calm the traffic on that street. And there's many ways to do it. Putting stop signs on every corner, first of all, there are certain regulations in place between traffic lights and stop signs. In terms of the traffic lights being all green at the same time, I could tell you there have been some streets I've seen where traffic lights, if you roll at a certain speed, are going to be green all the time. But again, that all forms part of a study that you have to do, and you have to do it intelligently. I can also tell you that in many cases, we've had many of the tickets that were issued, and when we spoke to the SPVM, for people who are speeding in the area, are people bringing their kids to school at Saint Clement. Mostly our residents. Can you imagine? Because they say, and their excuse is, well, I'm in a hurry, I got to get my kid to school, or I got to get my kid to an activity, or they park anywhere they want to park. I'm not blaming them all, but I'm just saying those are the issues. So we're dealing with, I understand the problem on the street, and we are concerned for you, and we're going to take the measures necessary to...
There will be a follow-up on what's going to happen.
There'll be a follow-up on this, absolutely. Once council approves a budget for that, we're going into our budget process, and then we have to determine the funds that will be available to do this type of analysis, because there's not just Lucerne, there's Rockland, there's Jean Talon, there's Côte de Liesse, there's many streets, there's Graham, there's Laird, there's many streets that people have concerns about. But we do understand that Lucerne is a big area.
Thanks.
Pleasure.
Alex Name, 475 Woodley. I guess you know what I'm here for. This is my third meeting regarding the generators, and I've taken the decision, as they say, you don't fight City Hall. But I'm disappointed that our mayor and elected officials that are all successful in their fields can just draft something that does not make sense. I'm 74 years old, and I don't see myself lugging a generator to the back in the winter, hooking it to a cord, hooking it to my system, and then when I'm done, bring it back inside. Either don't put it or don't put something ridiculous. As for the noise, we are...
Do you have a question related to this? Because I would like to answer whatever
yes.
because I just want
I do have.
Yeah, go ahead.
We applied for a permit based on your decision. Now you added that we can put noise reduction. But it's not something that I can do without actually making the installation. And whoever is going to come and check my generator, even with the noise reduction, L'Acadie makes more noise. Now, would the city give me a permit as a good citizen to my neighbors L'Acadie? I will do my best to keep the noise down below the cars, but will the city give me a permit based on my good intentions and the fact that I want to spend over $20,000 to keep myself safe? Last Sunday, we had a power failure. You didn't. Okay? That's 3 power failures within a month.
Yeah. So the answer to your question is, we put into, it took a while for council to discuss and decide upon the regulations necessary to put in place to have generators, because we made some modifications to our existing regulation, as you're well aware. And so that you can put it on the side of your house, et cetera, you know, with secure measures. And all we wanted to do, you know, there were some concerns by councilors about sound mitigation for neighbors, et cetera. Well understood. And there's ways and measures that you can put into place. By the way, you look good for 74. I didn't know you're 74 already. And I wouldn't want you to carry
We were on the board together for a long time.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you to carry a generator back and forth either, you know. You're spilling gas all over the place and stuff. Anyways, bottom line is, you can put barriers in place to be able to do it. Yeah. So the answer is yes. You want to put your generator in place. We recognize full well that we had to put measures in place because we don't want people putting, you know, noisy generators on their properties and disturbing their neighbors. If you're going to be disturbing the traffic on L'Acadie, that'll be their problem. It's not our jurisdiction anyways. But regarding your generator, I'm sure the generators you can buy nowadays are much lower in decibel levels, and with a barrier that's around them and some landscaping, I'm sure you'll meet those standards.
Now, will the city give me a permit, or do I go without it?
What are you buying?
Generac.
Perfect. Great generator.
You give me a permit?
Well, you have to make the application, Mrs.
I
Gouch.
have the application in.
I can't answer you because I haven't seen the documents that you've submitted.
Well,
So I can't give a blank statement of, yes, you're going to get a permit. It's up to the permits department. They will take your documents, and you've said that you will put the noise reduction installation, like baffles and some kind of a hood or whatever on it, and they will look at the file and do whatever they can to ensure, and it also depends. Are you going to put the generator on the side of L'Acadie, or are you going to put it on the other side?
The side of L'Acadie.
Well, I think you should mention that in your file as well.
It is.
Okay, so they will look at it. I will speak to them tomorrow to make sure that they have a look at your file.
Because it takes a long time to get one, and I don't want to go through the winter. I won't bother anybody on L'Acadie, believe me.
Okay, so I will make sure, I will speak with them tomorrow morning.
We'll follow up.
That they have a look at your file.
Thank you.
Okay?
All right.
By the
Thank
way,
you very much.
Mr. Mayor, 79.
79 what? What's 79?
What we're saying.
Well, you talk too loud.
By the way, the last power failure was not a failure. It was a cut by Hydro-Quebec because of the fire in Park.
Thank you.
The SSIM cut it off or requested Hydro-Quebec to.
You should be in touch with Mr. Name.
Bonsoir, mon nom c'est Edmond Maman.
OK. Pardon?
Mon nom c'est Edmond Maman, 397 avenue Glengarry.
Oui.
Il y a à peu près 3 mois, je vous ai fait une demande pour un terrain de pickleball et vous m'avez dit que le terrain de pickleball c'était à partager avec le terrain de basket. Laissez-moi vous dire que ce n'est pas un terrain de pickleball. Premièrement. Deuxièmement, je suis obligé de jouer à Ville-Saint-Laurent et maintenant, je suis obligé de jouer à Côte-Saint-Luc, dans un terrain qui est fermé, qui a coûté seulement que 125 000 $. Ne me dites pas qu'avec tous les budgets que vous avez et les taxes que nous payons, vous n'avez pas 125 000 $.
Et votre question, c'est quoi?
Et ma question est, quand est-ce qu'on va pouvoir avoir des terrains de pickleball pour qu'on puisse jouer?
Mais j'ai des bonnes nouvelles pour vous.
Ah oui?
Oui, on va avoir du pickleball cet hiver à l'école Pierre-Laporte.
OK.
Et on a des abonnements. C'était annoncé aujourd'hui.
Ah bon?
Même Mme Couch ne savait pas. C'était annoncé aujourd'hui. C'est des bonnes nouvelles.
Vous devriez l'annoncer plus souvent.
Ça vient d'être annoncé il y a peut-être juste avant. On savait que tu venais ce soir, alors on a planifié ça.
Vous le saviez?
Non, mais c'est vrai.
Parce que mon conseiller municipal, il était venu chez moi, puis je l'avais fait part de...
C'est qui votre conseiller municipal?
Monsieur Dreyfus.
Ah bon, mais là, il va le savoir, il va vérifier.
Non, il le sait très bien.
Bon, parfait. Alors, vous devriez être heureux.
OK,
oui.
Mais qu'est-ce qu'on fait pour l'été prochain et le printemps et les prochains?
On passe dans notre période de budget, on va voir. Comment est-ce qu'on peut régler le problème? Je sais qu'il y a une demande, il y a une très grande hausse de demande pour le pickleball. Alors, on va travailler là-dessus. Très important.
J'ai eu
pour moi.
au-dessus de 825 follow-up au sujet du pickleball. Maintenant, je vais vous dire, vous avez
une autre question? Parce qu'il faut qu'on passe à la prochaine. Oui, allez-y.
Parce que la dernière fois, vous ne m'avez pas répondu. Et là, je tiens à ce que vous me répondez là-dessus. Nous avons 20 terrains de tennis. Donc, 4 terrains de tennis sont c'est dur, d'accord? Là-dessus, on peut mettre 16 terrains de pickleball, parce que chaque terrain de tennis, vous pouvez en faire 4 terrains. Donc, pourquoi cette année, vous n'avez pas tracé les terrains sur les 4 terrains? C'est ce que je vous ai demandé. Et vous m'avez dit, vous allez y voir. On est à la mi-septembre.
Oui, attendez, écoute, je vais vous répondre. Après ça, on passe à la prochaine question. Ça, c'est une question qu'il faut discuter avec tous les joueurs de tennis. Et il y a beaucoup de joueurs de tennis à Ville-Mont-Royal. Il y a beaucoup de joueurs de tennis qui utilisent les terrains durs à Ville-Mont-Royal.
Oui.
Et il faut qu'on prenne ça en considération. On ne peut pas juste sauter et dire, bon, on va ouvrir des pickleballs sur les 4 terrains de tennis et mettre 16 courts de pickleball. Il y a d'autres considérations aussi.
Mais on se partage ça à Ville-Saint-Laurent, on se partage ça à Côte-Saint-Luc, on se partage ça à Hampstead, on se partage ça partout.
Je connais
Côte-Saint-Luc. Pourquoi qu'à Ville-Mont-Royal, on ne peut pas le partager?
Écoute, pour le moment, on ne l'a pas fait cet été. On va considérer ça dans nos budgets pour l'année prochaine pour voir s'il y a Oui, considérer, c'est ça.
Est-ce que c'est...
Monsieur, je ne suis pas... je vais vous dire...
Ça veut dire que je peux attendre jusqu'à Noël prochain? C'est Noël, mais jusqu'à Noël prochain pour votre décision?
Je vous ai répondu et merci beaucoup pour votre question. Et parfait. Bonne soirée.
I'm the last one.
Yes, it's the last question. Yes.
My name is Sandra Castaneda.
I'm sorry, who?
Sandra Castaneda.
Okay.
And my address is 265 Beverly. I'm here to ask you to be flexible regarding the gate around the pools, especially the ones that were built in 1960s, 50s that took most of the backyard and left her with very little room around and were not made to have a gate around the pools. And I think I represent over 1,500 houses with pools in TMR, and probably some of you have them, that you know that if we put a gate around the room, we won't have any room even to walk around. We are all willing to apply the provincial rule, which is requires to enclose the exits to the backyard. I know what the urban planning is trying to make us do to put gates around the pool, that a lot of us are going to lose room to walk around. Like me, I will have 1 meter to transfer massive furniture to my other side of the backyard. So that's all.
Yeah, so your question is, will you be more...
Well, it's not really a question, it's just to consider that...
Let me give you a little bit of good news. So the little bit of good news is the following. We had a long discussion about that particular issue this evening, about the pool regulations that both the town has and that the Quebec government is going to be imposing in 2025, okay? And we've taken that into consideration very seriously, and we will be coming back very shortly with hopefully some recommendations from the council that will take into consideration concerns that our citizens and residents have expressed to us very seriously.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And you know, one thing is, no gate is going to stop an accident. It's supervision.
We want to do the best for all our residents and their children and, you know, their children's children, without a doubt. Thank you. Bon. Avec ça, nous passons... l'adoption du procès verbal de la séance ordinaire du 15 août 2023 et de la séance extraordinaire du 15 septembre 2023. Greffier.
Donc, attendu que copie du procès-verbal de la séance ordinaire du 15 août 2023 et de la séance extraordinaire du 15 septembre 2023 du Conseil municipal ont été remises à chaque membre du Conseil dans le délai prévu à l'article 333 de la Loi sur les cités et villes, le greffier est dispensé d'en faire de la lecture. Il est donc proposé au Conseil d'adopter le procès-verbal de la séance ordinaire du 15 août 2023 et de la séance extraordinaire du 15 septembre 2023 du Conseil.
Merci beaucoup.
Je propose.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Merci. Je demande le vote, s'il vous plaît. À l'unanimité, merci beaucoup. Bon, on passe au prochain item. Dépôt des documents.
Donc, nous déposons les documents suivants. 1. La liste des commandes de moins de 20 000 $. 2. La liste des achats sans émission de bons de commande. 3. La liste des chèques et des dépôts directs. 4. Le rapport du service des ressources humaines. Et 5. Le rapport sur les permis et certificats émis.
Merci beaucoup. Et le prochain item, Mandate for Professional Legal Services.
Whereas on January 24th, 2023, the town adopted a resolution to maintain its bilingual status, whereas the town of Mount Royal wishes to vigorously oppose modifications of Quebec's charter of the French language, attendu que le cabinet d'avocats montréalais Gattuso Bouchard Mazzoni possède l'expertise requise en droit constitutionnel pour contester les dispositions du projet de la loi 96, la loi ayant modifié de façon substantielle la charte de la langue française du Québec, whereas the town of Mount Royal wishes to retain the services of the law firm of Gattuso Bouchard Mazzoni to represent the town's interests with respect to a legal challenge to Bill 96, attendu que le cabinet d'avocats Gattuso Bouchard Mazzoni a soumis sa lettre de mandat stipulant les coûts et les conditions de son offre de services juridiques, nous soumettons au Conseil d'autoriser une dépense de 63 236,25, taxes incluses, pour les services professionnels juridiques pour contester diverses dispositions du projet de loi 96. To mandate the law firm of Gattuso Bouchard Mazzoni to inter alia conduct the underlying research and analysis to identify the pertinent arguments, case law, and doctrine to proceed with the Superior Court of Quebec cause of action challenging various provisions of Bill 96, as well as to draft and file the corresponding application for judicial review and declaratory judgment and filing with the Superior Court of Quebec in the amount of $49,500 in professional fees and $5,500 in disbursements, plus applicable taxes, d'autoriser la directrice générale à signer la lettre de mandat ci-jointe au nom de la Ville de Mont-Royal, and to allow the town of Mount Royal to terminate the present mandate at any time by means of a termination of mandate letter signed by the town clerk or the town manager of the town of Mount Royal.
Thank you very much.
I move the motion.
Thank you.
I second the motion.
Thank you. May I have a vote, please? In favor? Those opposed?
Je vote contre.
Thank you. Bon, ratification des débourses pour la période du 1er août au 31 août 2023.
We submit to Council to confirm and approve the disbursements for the period between August 1st to August 31st, 2023. Payroll, $2,428,968. Suppliers and other payments, $3,417. Financing costs, $166,596. Total disbursements, $5,595,981.
Thank you.
Propose.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Merci. Je demande le vote, s'il vous plaît. À l'unanimité, merci. Bon, entente avec le ministère de l'Éducation du Québec pour le programme d'aide financière afin d'offrir la gratuité des cours de formation pour les sauveteurs et moniteurs aquatiques.
Oui, il est proposé au Conseil d'autoriser la signature d'une entente avec le ministère de l'Éducation du Québec pour de l'aide financière de 57 644 maximum afin d'offrir la gratuité des cours de formation pour les sauveteurs et moniteurs aquatiques pour l'année 2023-2024, le tout selon les politiques du ministère, et d'autoriser le maire et le greffier à signer l'entente au nom de la Ville.
Merci.
Je propose.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Merci beaucoup. Je demande le vote, s'il vous plaît. L'unanimité, merci. Bon, Fleet and Service Management Software Computer Equipment for Public Works.
We submit to Council to authorize an expenditure of $31,746.57, taxes included, for the purchase of an application computer equipment for fleet management for public works, including all incidental costs, if applicable. To authorize a loan of $29,000 from the working fund to pay these expenses and repay the amount over a 5-year period. To award the contract for the acquisition of computer equipment, rugged tough books, and accessories to It2Go at a total price of $22,338.51. To award the contract for the acquisition of CAT Electronic Technician ET software to Toromont CAT at a total price of $6,777.95. To authorize the town manager or the town clerk to sign on behalf of Town of Mont-Royal all documents pertaining to this resolution, and to charge the expenses associated with these contracts to the Working Capital Fund.
Thank you.
Je propose cette résolution.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Merci. Je demande le vote. À l'unanimité, merci beaucoup. Bon. Modification de la résolution 23-08-13.
Il est proposé au Conseil de modifier la résolution portant le numéro 23-08-13 adoptée le 15 août 2023 par, premièrement, le remplacement au premier paragraphe des mots « de la firme Cardin-Julien Incorporé » par les mots « de Cardin-Julien Incorporé plus CCM2 Architectes en consortium », étant entendu que Cardin-Julien Inc. est le représentant autorisé du regroupement. Et la deuxième modification est le remplacement au troisième paragraphe des mots « à Cardin-Julien Incorporé » par les mots « à Cardin-Julien Incorporé plus CCM2 Architectes en consortium ».
Merci.
Je le propose.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Merci. Je demande le vote, s'il vous plaît. À l'unanimité, merci. Bon. Fourniture et livraison des fleurs pour l'année 2024.
We submit to Council to authorize a maximum expense for the amount of $85,500, taxes included, for the supply and delivery of flowers for the year 2024, which includes, as needed, all accessory costs. To award to the company Les Serres YG Pinsonneau Inc. the contract fourniture livraison des fleurs annuelle 2024, to undertake these works with the unit prices submitted for the total amount of $77,706.74, taxes included, in accordance with the tendering documents, and to charge the expenses related to this contract to the operating budget of 2024. The credits required for this activity will be maintained in the budget.
Thank you.
I move the motion.
Thank you.
J'appuie.
Thank you. Je demande le vote, s'il vous plaît. À l'unanimité. Merci beaucoup. Bon. Bid weighting and evaluation system for professional services.
Donc, attendu que le Conseil désire explorer la conception d'un réseau de chauffage urbain pour chauffer les futurs bâtiments sur l'avenue Roosevelt, il est proposé au Conseil de mandater l'administration à mettre en place les actions requises pour la réalisation d'une étude de faisabilité et conception d'un réseau de chauffage urbain, et d'approuver le système de pondération et d'évaluation des offres pour les services professionnels pour la réalisation d'une étude de faisabilité et conception d'un réseau de chauffage urbain.
Merci.
Je propose.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Merci. May I have a vote, please? Unanimous. Thank you. Travaux de réfection du sous-sol de l'hôtel de ville suite à l'inondation.
We submit to Council to appropriate a credit of $220,000 from the town's unrestricted accumulated surplus to fund a portion of the operating expenses incurred by the city as part of the work carried out in connection with the flooding of the town hall basement. To authorize an expense of $225,940.84, taxes included, for the rehabilitation work in the basement of Town Hall following the flood of July 13th, this work being of an urgent nature. To ratify the contract awarded to the firm Tandem Service Après Sinistre for emergency work to demolish partitions and walls damaged during the flood for a total of $71,309.99, taxes included. To award to the firm Chevalier Séguin, Inc., a contract for $128,630.85, taxes included, for the reconstruction of damaged walls and partitions, including plaster joints, painting, and replacement of moldings during the flood, the estimate submitted by this firm having been approved by our insurer. To authorize the town manager to grant various contracts relating to the flooding of the basement of the town hall on July 13th, all in accordance with the town's delegation of authority. and to charge the expenses related to this work to the 2023 operating budget.
Thank you.
I move the resolution.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you. We have a vote. Unanimous, thank you. Bon, recommandation du CCU. Everybody hold your breath.
Not me. We submit to Council to approve the PIIA plans that have been the subject of a favorable recommendation from the CCU at its virtual meeting held on August 25, 2023. Plan number 2, 401 Brookfield for painting the residence's facade. Plan numéro 3, 5750 Côte de Liesse pour nouveau bâtiment industriel concessionnaire. Plan numéro 5, 5920 Côte de Liesse pour nouvelle enseigne autonome. Plan number 7, 427 Strathcona for new opening and basement left side wall. Plan number 8, 443 Ellerton for addition of 2 dormers in the rear roof. Plan numéro 10, 41 Belfort pour agrandissement au mur arrière, ajout d'un vestibule au mur en façade et modification des ouvertures sur les 4 côtés selon les réserves suivantes. Prévoir un joint de retrait pour le vestibule afin de préserver le détail de briques à l'encoignure. Retravailler le mur latéral du vestibule en ajoutant une moulure de coin avec le mur de façade tout en retravaillant le panelage. Plan number 11, 135 Cornwall for accepted PIIA modification, modification to front wall cladding, subject to the following. To harmonize with the semi-detached house, replace the proposed material with painted wood with moldings and the same architectural details. To approve the PIIA plans that have been the subject of a favorable recommendation from the CCU at its virtual meeting held on September 8, 2023. Plan number 1, Royal Mount, for exterior envelope for Phase 1B of the Royal Mount project, Piazza, subject to the following. The signage and art will be part of a future project. Plan number 3, 780 Algonquin, pour modification au PIA, coloration et revêtement extérieur, selon la réserve suivante. Couleur kaki approuvé, largeur 4 pouces, lisse, et pose verticale pour le clin. Plan number 5, 954 McNaughton for new white Canexel cladding on second floor. Plan number 8, 65 Lazard for accepted PIIA modification, metal roof coating. Plan numéro 9, 595 Keniston pour PIA échu, agrandissement. Plan numéro 10, 2328 Lucerne pour nouvel affichage pour 1855 Steakhouse. Plan number 11, 109 Dobie for addition of awning to detached garage, subject to the following. Replace the columns on either side of the garage doors with wood. To refuse the PIIA plans that have been the subject of a non-favorable recommendation of the CCU at its virtual meeting held on September 8, 2023. Plan number 6, 168 Portland for PIIA modification, change all windows except at rear, not favorable due to the following. The windows should be painted as proposed in the previous recommendation. Plan numéro 12, 2090 Cambridge, pour modification au PIA accepté, modification aux façades. Recommandation non favorable à l'unanimité selon le motif suivant. Les modifications apportées aux façades n'ont aucune valeur architecturale et le PIA approuvé doit être respecté.
Thank you.
Je propose la résolution.
Je l'appuie.
Oh my God, tellement vite, Caroline. Je demande le vote, s'il vous plaît. Merci, à l'unanimité. Adoption du règlement 1384-45 modifiant le règlement 1384 sur la circulation et le stationnement réservé pour le personnel de l'école Saint-Clément-Est.
Attendu que conformément à l'article 356 de la Loi sur les cités et villes, le règlement numéro 1384-45 modifiant le règlement 1384 sur la circulation et le stationnement en ce qui a trait aux espaces de stationnement réservés pour le personnel de l'école Saint-Clément-Est a été précédé d'un dépôt et d'un avis de motion donné le 15 août 2023. Et il est donc recommandé au Conseil d'adopter le règlement numéro 1384-45 modifiant le règlement 1384 sur la circulation et le stationnement en ce qui a trait aux espaces de stationnement réservés pour le personnel de l'école Saint-Clément-Est.
Merci.
Je le propose.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Merci. Je demande le vote, s'il vous plaît. À l'unanimité, merci beaucoup. Bon. Adoption of second draft bylaw number 144110, amending zoning bylaw number 1441 with respect to generators.
Donc, il est proposé au Conseil d'adopter, conformément à la loi sur l'aménagement et l'urbanisme, le second projet de règlement numéro 1441-10, modifiant le règlement de zonage 1441 en ce qui a trait à l'installation de génératrices.
Merci.
Je propose.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Merci beaucoup. Je demande un vote, s'il vous plaît. À l'unanimité, merci beaucoup. Bon. Filing notice of motion and first draft bylaw 144111 to amend zoning bylaw number 1441 with respect to the number of stories in zone P459.
Je dépose le projet de règlement numéro 1441-11 modifiant le règlement de zonage 1441 en ce qui a trait au nombre d'étages dans la zone P459 et je donne avis de motion qui sera présenté pour adoption à une séance subséquente.
Merci beaucoup.
Donc, il est maintenant proposé au Conseil d'adopter le premier projet de règlement numéro 1441-11, modifiant le règlement de zonage 1441 en ce qui a trait au nombre d'étages dans la zone P459 et...
Je propose.
J'ai juste un dernier paragraphe à lire, excusez-moi.
Trop vite.
Donc, il est donc proposé au Conseil de tenir, conformément à la loi sur l'aménagement et l'urbanisme, une assemblée publique relativement à ce projet de règlement, à son contenu et aux conséquences de son adoption le 4 octobre 2023 à 17 h, soit au moins 16 jours après la publication de l'avis public requis.
Bon.
Je propose.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Merci beaucoup. Je demande un vote, s'il vous plaît. À l'unanimité. Merci beaucoup. Bon. Bon, rapport sur les décisions prises et orientations du Conseil au Conseil d'agglomération.
Whereas the mayor must set out the position that he intends to take on the matters on the agenda of the September 21, 2023 regular sitting of the Urban Agglomeration Council and discuss that position with the other members present in order to adopt a resolution establishing the council's stance in accordance with Section 61 of an act respecting the exercise of certain municipal powers in certain urban agglomerations, we submit to council to authorize the mayor or his representative to attend the September 21, 23 Agglomeration Council regular meeting in order to make any decisions he deems appropriate regarding the matters presented at this meeting based on the information provided during this meeting and in the best interest of the town of Mount Royal.
Thank you.
Je propose.
I second the motion.
Thank you. May I have a vote, please? Unanimous. Thank you very much. And with that, we get to our second question period. And as usual, the rules still apply, and I was a little bit lax in the first question period, but will be less lax in the second question period. I'm sorry, could you repeat that again, please?
Ryan Morton, 145 Graham.
Thank you, because the mic was not on. Thank you.
Okay, it's a request to perhaps vulgarize some council motions in the sense that you said you were modifying the zoning for zone P232. Give us an idea of where it is. When you present a motion, either with a lot number, a zone number, or anything of that nature, please give us an indication of where it might be.
We'll be happy to do so.
Okay, thank you.
Kathy Ely, 157.
Sorry, Mrs. Ely, I think you're referring to zone P459.
Yes.
I think that's what you're referring to. Okay, thank you. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, when I was here recently, I mentioned that from the neighborhood meeting for the REM that was held either December or April 2021, the amount of noise barriers that had been allotted by the REM for the town of Mount Royal was on the east side 381 meters, and on the west side a total of 139 meters. When I asked you if that remained the same or if there had been any additions to the noise barriers since that time, you seemed to indicate to me, if I understood properly, that you might have asked the REM, but they don't really pay much attention. What I wanted to say was that last week in the Gazette, the president of the CDPQ, Jean-Marc Arbeau, said on inside that he is open to meeting with residents in areas north of the Mount Royal Tunnel, they should be reassured they won't experience the same noise problems as some of the sections already opened. Now, if he's so willing to meet, could we give him an official request to meet with the residents and the people who are concerned north of the Mont-Royal tunnel, who are having issues with noise or worries about potential issues of noise before it's too late to do anything about it?
What is your question?
Question was, will you ask the president of the CDPQ, Jean-Marc Arbeau, if he will come and meet with some of the residents, such as us?
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I know Mrs. Couch has been in touch with the REM in discussion, so Mrs. Couch, I'm going to defer to you.
I know when we had the request to meet with the REM about putting a dowel between the two bridges, Mr. Chidillian came, he was amazing, and we got it, and sometimes it works. Thank you.
Do you want an answer to your question?
The answer?
Yeah, well,
I was about to start to speak.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I had contact with the REM last week, and the person that I deal with has advised me that the REM has a company coming from Europe specialized in train noise that is doing studies and is going to do live noise readings for the line that goes to Griffintown. And after that, they are going to be doing some noise tests on the Two Mountains line and specifically in town of Mont-Royal. And it's going to allow them to validate their initial noise readings and hypotheses. And then from then, they'll be able to discuss with us and see if more is required or what steps need to be taken. But they've heard our comments, they are working on it, and my contact assured me that that's what they're going to be doing these tests and readings in the coming weeks.
And with regards to your request about asking the president of the CDPQ, the project here, REM, EXO and all that stuff, about coming to meet with residents, I certainly will be open to asking them. I don't mind asking them all kinds of questions. I've asked to meet with them myself, hasn't come. So maybe he doesn't like me, I don't know. But because I'm too tough on them about sound and sound mitigation. But we've passed a resolution. We've been supported by many other municipalities that aren't even close to the REM in our resolution. And we've covered it in the media many times, and I've been extremely vocal about it. So there's no question about we're going to advocate as hard as we can. And that's what I was saying in my opening remarks as well. So to answer your question, will we ask them to come and meet with residents? Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, London 626 Powell. I commend the council for going after the Quebec government and attacking Bill 96. Unfortunately, we are dealing with a provincial government that is very similar to the Nazis in Germany in 1932. When they passed regulations against the minorities in Germany, we have the government here is always passing regulations against minorities. And I would encourage you to go further than that and to attack the legitimacy of the government in its first place, since none of the ridings are created on an equal basis. Because you have ridings now in Quebec which have very few voters and have a seat in Parliament, and those are Francophone ridings. And then you have ridings which are non-Francophone ridings, which have thousands of voters and only one seat in Quebec. That is totally undemocratic, and the SOBs in Quebec City should be eliminated. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, I'm sorry, we can't, sorry. Thank you.
Nicolas Raymond, 606 Powell. Je suis toujours surpris quand je vois des grosses tours se construire, là, entre autres près du carré Lucerne, puis une autre grosse tour qui va pousser là, derrière le Shell. Donc, je sais qu'il y a plusieurs de ces projets-là là, qui antédatent votre nomination comme maire. Mais avec égard, Monsieur le maire, si je me rappelle, dans votre plan d'action, vous proposiez de déterminer la capacité démographique maximale de la ville Mont-Royal. Donc, à 2 ans, avez-vous déterminé quelle est la capacité maximale de ville Mont-Royal au point de vue démographique et si oui, quelle est-elle?
Nous avons juste aujourd'hui déterminé ou finalisé notre plan urbain pour Ville-Mont-Royal, le grand plan urbain pour Ville-Mont-Royal. Et chaque projet va être déterminé sur la capacité du site ou l'emplacement, disons, du développement. Comme vous le savez, présentement, il y a une tendance vers densification. Et ce n'est pas juste des places comme Ville-Mont-Royal ou d'autres municipalités, mais plusieurs municipalités ici au Québec et à travers le Canada. Naturellement, chaque projet va être déterminé s'il rentre dans notre plan, notre grand plan d'urbanisme pour Ville-Mont-Royal. Alors, c'est la seule manière que je pourrais répondre à votre question pour le moment.
Merci. J'ai consulté quelques procès-verbaux d'autres villes et je me questionnais pourquoi que la période de questions n'est pas plus détaillée, nombre de questions, sujets, parce qu'il y a quand même plusieurs engagements qui sont pris, soit par Mme Couch ou par vous, pendant la période de questions qui, à mon avis, devraient figurer dans un procès-verbal. Donc, je me demandais pourquoi, par rapport à la ville de Montréal où les questions sont toutes détaillées, ville de Longueuil, ville de Laval, pourquoi on marquait juste dans le compte-rendu période de questions? Je
peux parler pour la ville de Montréal parce que je suis là présent aux assemblées de l'AGLO. Et les questions sont soumises d'avance, numéro 1. Et puis, les détails des questions sont soumis, alors il y a une chance pour répondre à ces questions avant. Dans le cas ici, on a juste des questions qui sont posées par des personnes qui sont présentes dans la salle. Et puis, l'historique de ça, des questions...
En fait, c'est que le procès-verbal, comme greffier, je me dois de rapporter des décisions du conseil. Tout le reste, les arguments, le verbatim, les commentaires des concitoyens, excusez-moi, des conseillers, des citoyens, on ne le met pas dans le procès-verbal. C'est la bonne façon de faire. Ce que font les autres villes, ça les regarde. Là, mais
un procès-verbal. Plus des engagements qui sont pris pendant la période de questions que je trouvais pertinent.
Sauf qu'oubliez pas...
Je comprends, mais ce n'est pas une décision du conseil.
Non. Parfait.
Oui, et tout est enregistré quand même.
Merci.
Merci.
Françoise Legris, 672 Boulevard Graham. Monsieur le maire, bonsoir à tous, les conseillers et tout le monde. J'ai pris connaissance de l'appel d'offres concernant le centre sportif et communautaire. Et j'aimerais comprendre ce que vous préparez comme montage financier. Je n'ai pas tout à fait compris ce qui était présenté sur le site du Conseil du Trésor. Il y a entre autres 3 montants principaux pour le centre sportif et communautaire. Donc, 3 millions de subventions déjà accordées. Il y a un 46 millions et quelques venant de la ville, entre guillemets, et il y a un 43,9 millions venant de la part de partenaires. Et je ne comprends pas qu'est-ce que veut dire le mot « partenaire » et qui sont ces partenaires qui vont verser 43,9 millions pour nous construire un centre sportif. Pouvez-vous nous expliquer?
Oui, absolument.
Qui sont-ils? Est-ce que vous avez des garanties?
Je vais vous répondre, Mme Legris. Je ne sais pas d'où le 43 millions vient. Vous parlez de...
C'est très, très simple. Sur le site du SEAO.
Du site de quoi? Le site de quoi?
Le site public ouvert à tous du SEAO, Conseil du Trésor, où l'appel d'offres de Ville-Mont-Royal est présenté comme tous les appels d'offres de la province.
Oui, je ne sais pas où est-ce que vous prenez le chiffre de 43 millions des partenaires, parce qu'on a...
C'est inscrit directement sur...
Alors, je ne peux pas répondre à votre question, parce qu'il faudrait que je vois d'où ces chiffres proviennent et comment est-ce que c'est démontré sur ce site. Je ne peux pas vous répondre à votre question, j'ai aucune idée.
Donc, vous n'êtes pas au courant de l'appel d'offres de Ville-Mont-Royal pour le centre sportif et communautaire. Vous n'êtes pas au courant du budget.
On n'a pas soumis
qui a été
un appel
présenté.
d'offres à ce moment.
Madame Couch,
Un appel d'offres a été lancé, mais honnêtement, je ne suis pas au courant non plus de ce que vous parlez comme étant un montage financier qui est indiqué sur le site SCAO. J'ai aucune idée de quoi vous parlez.
l'appel d'offres, il vient de Ville-Mont-Royal, non?
Oui, mais je ne rentre pas d'informations sur SCAO. Et il y a un appel d'offres qui a été fait, mais vous parlez du Conseil du Trésor.
Mais Madame Couch, vous êtes habituée à tout ce qui est publié sur le SEAO. Ça fait 40 ans que vous êtes à Ville-Mont-Royal.
Non, mais premièrement, le SCAO n'existe pas depuis 40 ans.
Non, mais
ce n'est pas
vous
moi.
connaissez le
Ce n'est
site.
pas moi. Je n'ai jamais rien rentré sur le site SCAO. On s'entend que je ne peux pas tout faire, toutes les choses. Il y a un appel d'offres. Je suis au courant de l'appel d'offres. Je donne une approbation, mais ensuite, comment c'est monté sur le site SCAO, je ne le sais pas. Et vous parlez du Conseil du Trésor, ça ne me dit rien non plus. Donc, je vais faire des vérifications parce que je n'ai pas de réponse pour vous.
Alors, comment est présenté le budget du centre sportif et communautaire dans votre appel d'offres? Comment est-il présenté? Parce que là, on est over 90 millions, d'après ce qui est sur le site SEAO. Je ne sais pas si tous les conseillers sont allés voir, s'ils sont informés, s'ils ont voté en toute connaissance de cause, je ne sais pas. Mais je pose la question, je suis très étonnée.
Nous n'avons pas, Madame Legris, nous n'avons pas voté sur un budget sur le centre sportif finalisé. Alors, je ne sais pas de quoi ce que vous parlez. Alors, et c'est quoi votre but? Quelle est votre question?
Mon but, Monsieur le maire.
Le but, c'est quoi?
C'est d'être informé de...
Alors, l'information, on ne peut pas vous répondre maintenant. Alors, on va s'informer et on va vous revenir là-dessus.
L'appel d'offres qui a été lancé, c'est un appel d'offres pour des services professionnels. C'est ça l'appel d'offres qui a été lancé. Et le contrat a été octroyé le mois dernier.
Oui, le mois dernier.
Mais il y avait pas, on n'a pas octroyé un contrat pour 90 millions.
Non.
Écoutez, allez voir, renseignez-vous, parce que c'est comme nous sommes engagés quand même, les citoyens, dans ce projet-là. Où est l'argent? Est-ce que les partenaires, c'est nous? Est-ce que c'est d'autres personnes?
Je pense que
très important.
Oui, c'est très important et on comprend votre inquiétude, Madame Legris. Inquiétez-vous pas, on va être sûr qu'on va être sur la piste de tous les chiffres. Je ne sais pas d'où est-ce que vous prenez vos chiffres, mais écoute, j'ai appris quelque chose quand j'étais à l'université. On appelle ça des factoids. C'est des faits qui sont créés par des personnes qui veulent faire une...
Non, n'essayez
Anyways,
pas de...
on peut pas répondre à votre question. C'est pas un débat. Merci pour votre question.
Merci.
Alors, avec ça, il n'y a pas d'autres questions. Alors, on passe à la levée de la séance.
Il est proposé de lever la séance.
Merci.
Je propose.
Merci.
J'appuie.
Merci. Demande de vote, s'il vous plaît. À l'unanimité. Merci beaucoup. Et bonne soirée à tout le monde.